Hello, thank you for checking on me today, and thank you for your support, for your warm words, for your help that you decided to give to my country, to me personally. All donations that you are sending, they go to help those people who are in need. And there are so many of them now that you cannot even imagine what's going on here. And because I have so many questions from so many people asking what's going on here on the ground in Dnipro, and why Dnipro is not on the news yet, or not on the news full stop, I want to briefly describe how this war has changed me and how this war has changed my lifestyle. For me personally, it's very hard to believe that it has already been 13 days of war, and this is something that, as for me, it was like yesterday. Yesterday I remember this collapse which we were bombing actually, and then all these days they're just standing in one row. And the first days I was just not able to believe in what's going on. It was unrealistic, and I thought that it is a dream and I'm going to wake up and nothing is happening. But now I know that that's true, that Russia did invade Ukraine, and that now our life is changed a lot. I'm not talking about the future, but in my lifestyle, in my messenger said that the groups of Syrians, because I live in Dnipro, in the center of Ukraine, but it's a geographical center, and if you look at the map now, you will see that a lot of territories next to my region, they are occupied. You will see occupied Donetsk region, you will see partly occupied Zaporizhzhia region, and you will see that it is now not the central part, but it is part of the country that borders the war zone, and it borders the occupied territories. So we have air alerts, and if you have an air alert, it means that you need to go to the safe place or to the bomb shelter, or at least to the corridor where there are no windows, because windows, they are dangerous. During the explosion they will obviously just collapse, and you might be harmed by this glass. That's why you need to follow these alerts. And in my neighborhood we don't hear the sirens, so the only source of this information is from the mobile phone. So I need to check my siren warnings, these air alerts constantly. And yesterday we had the biggest air alert, which lasted more than 2 hours, but usually it's about 20 minutes. Luckily, happily, we haven't been bombed yet, and this situation in Dnipro is still stable. We have plenty of food in supermarkets. The situation with medicines is much worse. There are some life-supporting medicines like insulin or thyroxine that are gone from the pharmacies, and it is a shortage of supply, first of all, of medical things. Everything connected to medical stuff is in lack, and it's difficult to get it. It is still possible, but you need to go to different pharmacies, and some things is impossible to buy. As for the rest of the life, also in my life entered such a thing as bomb shelters, and I'm volunteering. I'm helping to organize the bomb shelter. Actually, the majority of work is already done, but there are still many things that need to be done, and it is still not a good place to spend the night, and probably there will be a moment when we will need to spend several nights there, like people do in Kiev or in Kharkiv. That means that I'm very interested personally in arranging everything so it will be a safe and better place to stay. It wouldn't be nice, but probably it will be a better place to stay. And also there are many people who need food, and food is in demand, but ready to eat food. People stockpiled in their homes, but there are some people like refugees, like territorial defense. Soldiers are actually better provided, so territorial defense and refugees, and some local people who are in need, like old people whose pension is not enough, especially now, and who cannot be in the supermarket when the food is delivered there, so they kind of in more need than others. So these people need ready food, so there is a canteen nearby. And also for your donations, I buy some food and bring it to this canteen so they can cook from it in this place. And then they distribute it, they either bring it to people personally, or some people can come and eat in this canteen. So that's my life. The part of my life is going quite as normal. I have electricity, I have water, I have heating because it is cold now here in Dnipro. We had snow yesterday and today, and it's a very cold spring. We don't remember when it was the last time, when on the 8th of March, today's 8th of March, it's International Women's Day, but I don't remember when it was so cold on this date, and particularly this date. Also, so this is a part of my life going pretty normal when I'm staying home, when I'm teaching, I'm continuing working, because I think that it's a good thing that I can provide myself, and many people lost their job and they cannot provide themselves, so I want to be able not to be as a burden to the economy, which is suffering a lot already because of the invasion, and that's why I'm still working. And this part of life is pretty normal, and when I do it I'm distracted and I'm not thinking about work that much. And the half of my life is going to the shop, seeing what can be bought, bringing things to this collection point, trying to talk to many people to get some more help to our bomb shelter, trying to buy things to the bomb shelter. So all these things that I was not imagining before. Also now I know a lot about the kinds of things that can fall on your head and that you need to be watching around, and that's also some kind of life which I have never expected I would have at any point. As for the other people, there are many refugees who are coming to Dnipro, but they don't want to stay here because they think that Dnipro is not safe. So they spend here 1, 2 or 3 nights and then they go to the west. And also there are many refugees from Dnipro. They say on TV that approximately 14,000 people leave Dnipro every day since the conflict, this war escalation started, because as I told you, war has started in 2014. So the city is going to be more empty. It is more empty now, and young women with children are going to the west. Some of them going to Europe, some of them are staying in this western region in Ukraine. And here in the city, those people who are left, it's mostly old people or men who now cannot work because the offices are closed. And also there are people like me of my age, but more and more women of my age are leaving the city. That means that humanitarian situation is more or less relaxed because people actually escaping the city, and we don't have this overcrowdedness, we don't have this fights in supermarkets or lack of food. That means the situation on the ground a little bit easier, but it's very depressive to see what's going on the streets. It's very depressive to see only old people and young men, a lot of whom are actually volunteering, trying to do something good. So it's kind of strange to see the city this way. And also I'm trying to stay in the neighborhood. I haven't been to any other parts of the city because I don't think that traveling is safe. It's not safe now since the war started, and I would rather prefer to stay here and help on the place where I can. So I'm not going to the big volunteering points. I'm trying to help where I can on the ground. I'm now in the most ground levels, as you can imagine, like of all. So that's basically my life. And yesterday also I was invited to the discussion club, and there were some people in Britain who were interested in what's going on. And the question I've got, the most interesting of it, was What lesson do you think we people will, as a humanity, will have? What lesson will we learn from this war? And actually my answer was I don't believe that this war will change anything, and it will not give us any lessons, because there was the First World War and then there was the Second World War, and also because the pilot who were bombing Syria was caught in Ukraine, so Syria didn't teach us anything, and we still have Ukrainian conflict, and the very same people who were bombing peaceful Syrian cities. You might get different points of view on politics, but the cities with civil population, with innocent people, were bombed by these exact pilots that now are bombing Ukrainian cities. So I don't believe in the lessons that history can give to people, but I sincerely believe that Ukraine will win this war. Because I see these examples of resistance, I see that people are trying their best, even people who are not armed, they're trying to somehow fight and to be opposed, especially in Kherson, to the Russian regime, to this new order of 21st century, and that makes me sure that we will win, but it might take time, and as the more time passes, the more human lives we are losing, especially in Ukraine, because Russians, they don't want us to be alive at all. That's why I'm pessimistic and optimistic at the same time, and now when I realize that war is real and that my life has changed forever, and that now I literally have different everyday life, it's starting to, I'm starting to get used to it, and I'm trying to reformate, kind of get it into my mind. And as you see, I look better, I feel a little bit better, but starting from today, for example, I started to have a nightmare about war. So that's what's going on. Ask me any questions, as usual, try to answer, and also if you want to donate, if you want to help, please do it, because we do need the help as Ukrainians, and the situation on the ground is very difficult. And it's not necessary to be money donations, it can be support on social media, it can be support on the demonstrations, it can be asking your government to close the sky over Ukraine, because again they're bombing these cities from the air, and they're just trying to destroy normal people like me, and maybe my neighborhood would be next. So if you want to help, there is no such a thing as a small donation or small contribution in this case. If you can press the button against war, just please press this button. Don't just close the page and be unaware, and don't turn the blind eye on it. That's my message. That's what I'm asking you. And as usual, there's a poem, and there's a poem about war. It also has been written before this escalation. It was written for Donbas region, and it was performed by Христина Соловій, and it's called Присягу, двічі, не дають. So let's read it together. Я б хотів обійняти гітару та зіграти по струнах душі. Шкода, ще не загоїлись рани. Думка тішить, що ми не чужі. Не чужі ми своїй Україні. Ми за волю її до кінця. Хай там що, та душею ми сильні, бо любов зігріває серця. Щоранку будять солов'ї, солдати з честю в бій ідуть, бо вірні ми своїй землі. Присягу двічі не дають. Ми попри біль ідемо в бій, і нас не вабить чужина, бо вірні ми землі своїй, бо Україна в нас одна. Я б хотів обійняти матусю, розказати про все, як колись. А тепер, я кажу, повернуся, ти лиш Богу за мене молись. Я б хотів обійняти кохану, пригорнути до серця дітей. Вірять люди в нас, це гоять рани, а ми віримо в наших людей. Щоранку будять солов'ї, солдати з честю в бій ідуть, бо вірні ми своїй землі. Присягу двічі не дають. Ми попри біль ідемо в бій, і нас не вабить чужина, бо вірні ми своїй землі, бо Україна в нас одна. Слава Україні! Героям слава! Thank you very much for your support, thank you for watching, and we will win.